Ahoy, hoy. Welcome to the DCL show, where we're going to help you navigate the waters of Disney Cruise Line. I'm Craig Williams, and I'm going to be the captain of this conversation. And joining me along for this ride, we have Elaine Edwards, our other captain.
Hi, Captain.
Yeah. Then we have Chris Forbeck, Dreams Unlimited travel agent, just like Elaine. He's also a captain.
I'll be Goofy. How's that?
Okay, that works too. And then we have Captain Jackie, the writer of all things DCL over on DCLfan.com.
Hi, everyone.
Hello, everyone. We are going to have a great episode here talking about DCL. Today, our topic is going to be rookie mistakes made by first-time cruisers on Disney Cruise Line. I just shared with the entire group that my entire first Disney Cruise Line cruise was just one rookie mistake by itself, so I'll have a lot to share. We're going to hear from some of the contributors over on the DCL fan Facebook group. It's going to be a lot of fun, and hopefully will help you avoid any first-time rookie mistakes if you haven't cruised with DCL yet. But before we get to that, I want to remind you this is brought to you by Dreams Unlimited Travel. If you like our content and you want to support us, book a vacation through Dreams Unlimited Travel. It costs you no extra money, and you get the support of one of the amazing Dreams Unlimited travel agents. So head over to dreamsunlimitedtravel.com today for a free, no obligation quote on your next Disney Cruise Line vacation, or Walt Disney World, or Disneyland, or Universal, or many Disney destinations out there. Okay, Elaine, I'm going to throw it over to you and have you throw out one of the first rookie mistakes that you could make on a Disney Cruise Line vacation. So what do you have?
So I think one of the biggest things that so many people do is overbooking and over planning. And a lot of people will try to book one or even multiple excursions. There are people that will book 3 excursions at every port. And then they've got all of these activities booked on board as well. And they're trying to run themselves ragged and do every single thing. And they've completely exhausted themselves and they're grumpy. And by day 3, they're like, I don't even want to get out of bed. I don't want to go on another excursion, that kind of thing. So I think that is a really, really, really big thing, is what makes a cruise different from other vacations is a lot of people say it's the one place that they can actually relax. So take some time and actually relax and build in that time for things to just happen, activities to pop up as they are. Taking a nap. I mean, I will tell you, I love that 2:00 afternoon nap on cruise ships, because there is no nap like a cruise ship nap. That is for sure. So what do you guys think? Are you overbookers? Are you relaxers? What do you guys like to do?
I 1,000% agree. That is, it's funny. You get 2 types of people, and there are multiple. You get some people who overplan, and then some people who don't plan at all and don't plan anything. And I think that's probably also a rookie mistake. You want to have some things and have an idea, but this isn't a Walt Disney World trip, right? Where we're thinking about Genie Plus and, okay, where are we going to go first and all these. This is a very different, and do leave that. One of our favorite things to do is we play Uno on our veranda. And it's lovely, and it's time with your kids, or however you reading a book on the top deck. It's just, that's a marvelous, marvelous way to spend time, and really kind of unplug. We don't have many places where we get to unplug, and you really get to do that on a Disney ship. So I 1,000% agree with that.
I do too. I love just the chill vibe, and yeah, there's nothing like just being able to just soak in all the parts of the ship and just chill. I agree with it 1,000% too, Chris. I am right with you guys.
And there's live music. You want to go and experience the live music. And sometimes you're just walking through. And there was one guy who was playing the violin, and he would play Taylor Swift on the violin. And my initial thing was, I've heard this song. And we ended up just sitting there, and all of a sudden we sat there for an hour listening to him. It was lovely. And you want to, you see characters walking through. There's all sorts of things that are going to happen. And that's why I also think over researching, if you're like, you don't need to know every single little bit. There's going to be a lot of stuff that just happens, and enjoy the space. Those ships are just so lovely and they're so special. And so really enjoy, just have a good time.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm going to play devil's advocate here and say it also depends on your cruise, because if you're going to Alaska, you have a 7-night sailing, you have plenty of time built in on those days where you're just sailing up and down along the Alaskan and Canadian coast to kind of relax. But when you're in those ports, if you want to take full advantage of what's available in that cruise, then you want to be out there and seeing everything and over plan. And that's just kind of how it has to go. Or even if you're in a specialty cruise in Europe, I feel like you have to plan like that. If you're in the Caribbean, Bahamas, you know what? There's going to be swimming with dolphins at every single port and snorkeling and all that. Don't over plan that. But in special occasions, yeah, you kind of have to over plan. But I'm also that type of freak with DCL that I like to keep to my routine. I like to hit trivia at the same points every night. I like to be at the bars at certain points. I like a good strict routine. I don't like to just sit there and relax and be like, oh, the day's gone. I like the schedule. So I'm a weirdo. Don't trust me. Trust everyone else.
I totally agree with you. We did a Greek cruise this past summer, and we had one day that was a 12-hour marathon excursion. We went to 3 different places. I mean, we were all exhausted by the time we came back, and thank goodness the next day was a sea day. So I think we woke up at the crack of noon. So when you're doing those, you do want to make sure. When we went to Athens, we wanted to make sure we hit the Pantheon. But you're right. There are different cruises, so you need to think about it a little bit differently.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Yeah, Elaine, what do we have next?
So just to wrap that up, and it kind of goes along with it, is don't think that you have to do every single thing because you won't be able to.
Right.
You can always book another cruise. That's the thing. One of the mistakes is a lot of people think this is a one and done, and it's not. They do it once and they are addicted after that. So that is a mistake. A lot of people think this is a one and done, and then they fall in love with it and they book 10 more.
Well, and Elaine, can also, one of the, I think, rookie mistakes is a lot of people don't know if you book a placeholder on board, it's $250. Fully refundable at any time, and you just have to cruise sometime in the next 24 months, 2 years. And if you don't use it, that $250 comes back to you, or it can come back to you at any time when you decide, okay, maybe we're not going to do this. It gets you 10% off most cruises, not Christmas, not Thanksgiving, things like that, but most of them. And it's a great way there aren't many way to save on Disney cruises, but that's one of them. And a lot of people don't know that those exist.
I agree. That was going to be one on my list. So you got it.
We're on the same vibe. Yay.
Go back. Once you get on a cruise, you're going to want to have a second one.
I even myself have to constantly go back and look, is make sure that you review the guidelines put out by the cruise line as far as what items you can take on board and what items you cannot take on board. This is very important because there may be things in there that maybe you didn't realize you cannot take on a cruise ship and that you pack on every single cruise. And this is very important because when you get there, and they will check everybody's bags, the bags that you give up at the port to the porters that they take away from you. They will check those before they take them to your rooms. Anything that is not supposed to be there, they will pull out and they will tag it. And then at the end of the cruise, they will have a table as you are disembarking, and you can try to find your item. Don't take it away from you. And then as well, when you're boarding the ship and you have that day bag that you're carrying on, you want to make sure that the things that are in that day bag you can actually take on board. I've told this story in previous episodes, but it's still one that really sticks out in my mind. The time that I was getting ready to get on the Dream out of Port Canaveral, and there were people sitting just outside of security with their very large box of Gideon's cookies, trying to eat the whole box.
I'll be their friends.
It was unwrapped food. Which now Gideon's, pro tip, now Gideon's will package the cookies up so that you can take them on board or take them home with you. But at that time, I was just, and of course the couple was laughing and we laughed along with them and we asked if they needed any help with this, but it was a fun
that you did that.
And everybody was laughing that they were trying to eat their entire box of cookies. So
I love that you asked if they needed a hand.
Oh yeah, of course, because
That's
I
awesome.
wouldn't cookie ever.
Some of the items that are on the list are things that you wouldn't necessarily anticipate, like you can't bring a drone on board a Disney ship. It's not allowed. You can't bring, if you make a droid at Walt Disney World before you can't bring those on board. They'll hold it for you and it's not a problem. But a lot of humidifiers, portable fans, sleep machines, those things all have to be checked out to make sure. What they're mostly looking for is they don't want fires on board a ship, needless to say. And so that's what they're watching for. But definitely check the list. And the other thing that goes along with that is the alcohol policy. You can bring certain amounts of alcohol on board, but you can't. It's limited. It's restricted. So just pay attention to that as well, because they do check that, and that needs to come in on your carry-on luggage as well. So don't. And if you have it in the dining room, there's a corkage fee, FYI. So
another thing is that people regret that they didn't book sooner. That they thought that they wouldn't like it, that they're not cruise people, that they're not ship people, and they just were scared of it or whatever. And once they booked, they were very, very, very excited. And again, like you said, they thought it was going to be a one and done. And they're like, why didn't I do this sooner? So this is what I want to ask is, when was everybody's first cruise on this panel?
I was early. My grandfather loved cruising, and so we did it. It was our Thanksgiving tradition, is we would go on a cruise. So I was early. And so I agree with you. It's one of my favorite ways to travel, because I get to open up my blinds every morning and I'm in a different place and I didn't have to pack or unpack. It's great. So it's one of my favorite ways to travel, but, I think I totally agree with you. People have, I think, preconceptions about what cruising is, and it doesn't always match what those preconceptions are.
So my first cruise was back in 2016. And it was a work cruise. It was a 3-night cruise on the Disney Dream. And so I haven't been a super, super, super long time cruiser, but I've been on all the ships but the Magic. So I guess I'm doing pretty good for only first starting in 2016.
Yeah, my first cruise with Disney and in general was in 2013, and I'm already platinum with Disney, so I've cruised quite a bit, and I forget how many nights I have on Royal Caribbean now. I think somewhere in the 20s maybe, and Viking as well, so I have all those ships. But Disney is my most. And you know what? While I love cruising, and this is a cruise line show, I have to keep that in mind. I don't know if I necessarily regret not cruising earlier, just because for my family and for how I like to relax, cruising would not have worked out in terms of like the cruising to the Bahamas in the Caribbean. I will I will never not scream from all of the rooftops. I do not like the Caribbean, and I do not like the Bahamas. My type of cruises are Alaskan cruises and other specialty ones. That's not to say I don't love Castaway Cay. I will go on any double dip to Castaway Cay any day of the week. I would leave right now if I was told I could go to Castaway Cay 2 days in a row. Just everything else about the Caribbean cruises. I'm a fair-skinned, light-haired person that just burns immediately when I walk out in the sun. So I don't necessarily regret not going earlier, but I'm glad that I got my feet in the water, and cruising has opened up so many different destinations that I probably would have never been to if it wasn't for cruising. So I'm happy I got there, but it's not like if I would have grown up cruising, I probably would actually now kind of have a little bit of a worse outlook on it. Like, we grew up going to Walt Disney World a lot, and I moved here, so obviously that's one part of it. But then we went to the beach a lot, and now I don't like the beach anymore. So I'm kind of glad that I discovered cruising later. That's just me, though.
Well, that's on my list of things. Sorry, Elaine. One of my list of things is be prepared for the sun in the Caribbean is strong. And I'm like you, Craig. I don't really get a tan color. I get kind of this pinkish hue thing that's frankly not that attractive. So bring sunscreen, put it on. The sun is stronger than you think it is, and be careful out there. I had a cruise where I got burnt first day, and where you're walking around funny because everything hurts. So be careful and be aware that the sun is very strong down in the Caribbean.
Yeah, I'll get to it in 1 second, Elaine. I just have to throw this in too because it's ridiculous. Also, sunglasses for someone like me. I obviously wear regular glasses. I don't carry contacts, and so I kind of have to deal with what's thrown in front of me. And I went on one cruise where the stop at Castaway Cay, there was no clouds. It was so bright, and by the end of the day, I could not open my eyes because my eyes were just that affected by the sun glaring up off the sand. I'm like, if I would have had sunglasses, it would have changed everything. But just even with a hat, it didn't matter because the sun was bouncing off the sand and just hitting me right in the eyes. So then my eyes crusted over, and it took 24 hours for me to be able to see again. And it was so bad because it was one that Disney invited me on, so I had to cover everything. So we're on the top deck for the I think the Pirates show or whatever the nighttime show was happening on there. I couldn't even see. I just kind of pointed the camera at the stage. It was hoping for the best. So it's not necessarily, that's not a rookie mistake. That would have fallen into one of the shows we're also going to do very soon. But I guess it is a rookie mistake. Bring sunglasses. It'll help out.
Always. Yeah.
Elaine, you started this saying people not booking early, and I thought you were going in the direction of booking your cruise early, or sooner that they come out. And that's always one of the problems. I see a lot of people who'd go, oh, we want to go next month on a cruise, which you certainly can do, and there's a certain fun element of that. But I always tell people, if you can, book your cruise as early as you can. They come out probably 18 to 20 months before is when they start releasing them. And you're going to get a better price. If you have little kids and you want that early dining, book early because it's the early main dining. The early dining tends to go first. So, and you just have more options in terms of staterooms and all those kinds of things. So and by the way, your deposit is fully refundable up until you're paying full date. So you can put something down, and it can change if things change or conditions change. So that's always my recommendation: is book early. Also, if you want connecting staterooms, you want to do that early. All those kinds of things. I kind of recommend folks book as early as you can.
And on that note of booking as early as you can, if you are booking your cruise 18 months in advance. Please also make sure that you know the guidelines as far as if somebody in your party will be pregnant at the time of booking or will have a baby at the time of sailing. Or I'm sorry, pregnant at the time of sailing or having a baby at the time of sailing, because I have clients that I book 18 months out, and in that time, they had no kids and they got pregnant, had a baby, and then now have a baby that we didn't originally account for when we were sailing, that we might not be able to add last minute because either the ship is full or that the baby is not old enough to sail, because there are restrictions on that as well. So just keep that in the back of your head if that's something that's on your future plans while you're booking a cruise, or if it's not on your future plans and it just happens, just please make sure that you check and tell your travel agent so that we can work that out for you.
Absolutely. So
Surprise.
I think that's a lot of good rookie mistakes that we covered in this week's episode. I'm sure there's plenty more, so we will definitely revisit this topic in the future. But I think we set like a nice little new ground level for mistakes you don't need to make, because we just covered it. If you make them, that's now your problem. We warned you not to do any of those things. But I just wanted to say thank you to our group of panelists once again, Elaine and Chris from Dreams Unlimited Travel, as well as Jackie. Thank you so much for all your input on this episode. Really appreciate it.
Great to be here.
Absolutely. Glad to be here.
Well, and thank you all so much. Again, if you want to support us, you want to book a Disney Cruise Line vacation, head over to dreamsunlimitedtravel.com, or you can get in contact with one of the agents who is on this show directly. Elaine, how do they get in touch with you?
Elaine, ELAINE at dreamsunlimitedtravel.com is my email.
And Chris, what about you?
I'm Chris V at dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. There's another Chris, so if you send that, it'll go to him, but both of us are happy to take care of you.
Beyond booking a vacation with Dreams Unlimited Travel, you can also support us by subscribing to this channel, leaving positive comments for us, or bad comments if you don't like the direction this is going. But, hit the thumbs up, leave us comments, and any future suggestions for cruise line shows you would love to see. And if you're listening to this, to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts, and if you can leave us ratings and reviews when possible, that would be fantastic. But that's going to do it for this episode of the DCL show. We will be back real soon with more great Disney Cruise Line topics to help you plan the best vacation possible. But until then, remember, you can't get to Castaway Cay without Disney Cruise Line.